Mario Kart World is the perfect launch game for the Nintendo Switch 2. There's no disputing that. But Cyberpunk is the secret killer app that looks set to steal the show on the Nintendo Switch 2. It looks like a great complement to Mario Kart World. It's a perfect fit for the Nintendo Switch 2, and it could set the standard for third-party games going forward on the Nintendo Switch 2. So let's talk about that and more in today's video. What's up? This is Justin. Welcome to Just Keep Playing. I hope you're having a good one, and please join me today as we talk about what makes Cyberpunk the Switch 2's secret killer app and why it's so important. All right, so leading up to the launch of the Nintendo Switch 2, CD Projekt Red has been doing and saying all the right things to hype up Cyberpunk on the Switch 2. They've stressed the importance of physical, especially for the Nintendo audience. They have a lot of goodwill coming off of The Witcher 3 on the Switch. And outside of Mario Kart World, Cyberpunk has been the most talked about Switch 2 launch game by far. Originally, leading up to everything with the Switch 2, I thought that Mario Kart and Metroid Prime 4 Beyond would make for that perfect 1-2 punch combo for launch day. And I still do think that. But now Mario Kart and Cyberpunk also, they are that perfect complement to each other on launch day, and it allows for Nintendo to save Metroid Prime 4 Beyond as another huge game, saving that for later. So before we get to what makes Cyberpunk on the Nintendo Switch 2 that secret perfect killer app, first I want to talk about why this game as a third-party game is so important for the Nintendo Switch 2. So what makes Cyberpunk so important? The Switch 2 has a lot of really good and key third-party games coming out on launch day and throughout the launch year. You got games like Street Fighter 6, Split Fiction, Hogwarts Legacy, Elden Ring, Yakuza 0, Borderlands 4, just a lot of like really cool games that I'm excited to play and check out on Switch 2. But what do all of those games have in common? All of those games come on a key card. Now, I don't know if you've been paying attention to what's been going on out here on social media, on these Twitter streets, in other YouTube videos and all of that type of stuff, but there has been a battle, a civil war going on within the Nintendo gaming community. As soon as Nintendo made it known that one of the options that they provided for their third-party partners was the game key card, and that a lot of their third-party partners were choosing that option, there has been outrage and people have been going ballistic over just even the thought and the notion of a game key card. So if you don't know what a game key card is, it's a cartridge that doesn't have any data on it or barely has any data on it. You put it in your Switch 2, it downloads the game from the internet, and then once it's been downloaded, you only need to download it that one time, and then you can play the game without having to be connected to the internet. And you have to have that key card in your Switch 2 to actually be able to play the game. Now, the difference between a key card and a purely digital game is that with the key card, it's not tied to your account like a regular digital game. You can let a friend borrow it and then they could put it into their Switch 2, download the game, and they'll be able to play it as well. You can trade it, you can sell it. It gives you a little bit more options than just a purely digital game would give you. But regardless of that fact, there has been a lot of outrage centered around key cards, with people calling them fake physical and that you don't have any kind of ownership. And I see where a lot of them are coming from. I understand their complaints. I understand their criticisms. For me, I definitely prefer physical. I like having the complete game on cartridge when possible, and would prefer to not have to download the game if I don't want to and have to take up a bunch of storage space because of it. So I get it, but I'm also not going to not play a game that I'm excited for or that I want to play just because it doesn't come on a format that I prefer. But this is where CD Projekt Red comes in with Cyberpunk 2077 and what makes this game so important. Cyberpunk, the complete edition with the Phantom Liberty DLC, comes complete on a 64 gigabyte cartridge on the Nintendo Switch 2. In a conversation with the games business, Jan Rosner from CD Projekt Red talked about their decision of going with the 64 gigabyte cartridge versus the key card. They said it wasn't a matter of being able to get away with using a key card. Nintendo at physical retail is still strong, and retail is, in general, not going anywhere. I don't think we'll soon experience a reality where we're just having all games digital. But again, it's especially important for the Nintendo audience. We maybe could have got away with it, but is there a point? The right thing to do was to have it out on the cartridge with a plug-and-play experience. In advice to other studios, he also added that do not underestimate the physical edition. It's not going anywhere, and Nintendo players are very appreciative of physical editions that are done right. And this is where the importance of Cyberpunk comes into play. They're already encouraging other studios, hey, don't forget about the Nintendo players, how they love their physical games. And even though they're encouraging, the key important factor is sales. Cyberpunk needs to back up their claim with sales. If this game sells really well, which it is already proving to be one of the standout games and best sellers on the Switch 2, where it showed up on Walmart's list as one of the best-selling Switch 2 games right alongside Nintendo's game. So if Cyberpunk sells really well, especially because of it being on the cartridge, if it sells better than games that are on key cards, that could prove to these other studios, to these other publishers, that there's value in taking on some of that extra cost that comes along with using the 64 gigabyte cartridge, and that it would be worth it in the long run. And that's what makes Cyberpunk 2077 one of the most important games, one of the most important launch games for the Nintendo Switch 2. But what do you think? Do you agree that Cyberpunk is one of the most important launch games for the Switch 2? What do you feel about the key cards versus the actual cartridges? Let me know in the comments. And hey, while you're here, we're so close to hitting 200 subscribers on the channel. So would you please consider hitting that like and subscribe button and join me as we head into this exciting brand new Nintendo Switch 2 generation. with all the cool and hype gaming experiences that we have coming our way, like Cyberpunk. So what makes Cyberpunk 2077 the perfect killer app for the launch of the Nintendo Switch 2? Well, one of those type of games that you need at the launch of a brand new system, especially on Nintendo systems, because this what we're used to is we need that big, meaty, solo adventure game that we can sink our teeth into and that shows off why we got this brand new system. And yes, Mario Kart World, it has big single player component to it with just the open world nature of it and the missions that it has with having hundreds of missions and collectibles and all that kind of stuff. At the end of the day, it's still a multiplayer centric game. And hey, Mario Kart World is awesome. I am so excited for that game. I'm going to be sinking so much time playing that game, but there's nothing quite like that experience of coming home with a brand new system and having a big single player adventure game to sink your teeth into as you sit down to experience your brand new system. And that's something as Nintendo players that's what we are used to. You know, you get your Nintendo 64, you got Super Mario 64 to just experience this brand new world, go on a grand adventure, and just sink your teeth into that game. On the Wii, yes, they had Wii Sports, but also we had The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess. On the Switch, Breath of the Wild, that's what set the tone and set the standard for that system. So having a game like that is a crucial part of the experience of getting a brand new console. And that is what makes Cyberpunk the perfect complement to Mario Kart World. And now I know what some of you are saying. Cyberpunk 2077 isn't a brand new game. It's an old game. It came out years ago. People have already played it. Well, Cyberpunk is that perfect type of game to be played again for those who have already played it. You can set up a new build that you didn't have before in your previous playthrough. You can change how you experience the game with the type of character that you build. And while yes, it is a game that many millions have already played, there's still a lot of people who have not played Cyberpunk 2077 yet. And that's me. I'm people. I haven't played Cyberpunk 2077 yet. And so I am looking forward to experiencing this game for the first time. And one of the cool things about this version is it takes advantage of the new features that the Switch 2 has. You have the mouse controls. And yes, I know on PC you could do that as well. But I love how on the Switch 2, you get that seamless experience where you can play it normal style if you want to, and then when you want to use the mouse controls, you can just seamlessly switch to that style of play. And that's one of the features that I'm most excited to use on the Switch 2. And then there's the whole portable and hybrid nature of the Switch 2. While there may be other ways to play Cyberpunk handheld, Cyberpunk, per the developers, Cyberpunk on the Switch 2 is the definitive and best way to experience this game in handheld mode. And one, that's because it is being built specifically. This version of it is being built specifically for the Switch 2. So that helps give it a much different experience when you're just taking a game from the PC and putting it maybe on a PC handheld. It's being built specifically for the device, for the Switch 2. And then also just from day one, especially for third-party developers, Cyberpunk is showing what is possible, what the Switch 2 is capable of, what third-party developers can do, what they can accomplish on the Switch 2. And it's showing us, Switch 2 players, it's showing us what the Switch 2 is capable of, what type of gaming experiences we can look forward to, and why the Switch 2 is a system that Nintendo fans, that Switch fans, that video game fans want to get their hands on. But what do you think? Do you agree? Do you see Cyberpunk 2077 as a killer app for the Switch 2? If you don't, what is your killer app for the Switch 2? What is convincing you to pick up the system? What is your game for launch? Let me know in the comments. And thank you so much for watching. And for more Nintendo Switch 2, and gaming discussion, please hit that like and subscribe button. And until next time, I'll see you later. Have a good one. Peace.